All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Limitless Life Code. My name is Jordyn, and I am a holistic healing specialist. And I help people who feel like they have tried everything and nothing is working anymore. I help those people heal at all levels, mind, body, and soul. You need all three so that they can reclaim their power and step into their divine purpose. And right now, we are right in the middle of a series where I am talking about why we do the toxic things that we do to our health. Because I know a lot of us, a lot of my clients, a lot of people that I know, and my own self for like the longest time lived in shame. I lived in shame about my relationship with food and the state of my body. And I just believe that we deserve one hell of a lot better than that. We deserve so much better than that. And that's what the Limitless Life Code is all about. It's all about helping you break free from the chains that have been holding you back from living a life of true freedom, overwhelming abundance, and living and walking in your purpose. And today, I'm going to be here discussing with you the second reason why we collectively struggle in our relationship with food. In the last episode, I talked about the first reason why. I'm going to be going through the three main reasons why we struggle in our relationship with food in this series, and then we're going to really dive into what we need to do to fix that. So, reason number two is we are numbing out. We are numbing out. We are numbing out. Just sit with that for a second. We are numbing the heck out. Comfort food. Comfort food. I know that you know what I'm talking about. I know that as soon as I said the words comfort food, at least one meal or snack popped up in your head. I know that because, hey, me too. Food is the easiest way to comfort ourselves. It's a super quick dopamine hit. It's instant gratification. It is a distraction from our feelings. It is an escape from reality. And I have mentioned before in previous episodes how we collectively, as a society, are numbing out. Some of us use social media. Some of us use incessant scrolling or Netflix. Some of us use business goals and workaholism. Workaholism. I was a workaholic for a long time. Workaholism. Some of us use alcohol and medication or, you know, street drugs. And most of us, even if we also use the ones I just mentioned, also use food. In fact, most recovered addicts end up either in extreme fitness or binge eaters. And I personally come from a long history of eating disorders disguised as fitness goals. I started restricting, binging, and purging when I was 16 years old. 16. I was 16 when I started restricting my food, starving myself, binge eating, and puking it up when I was 16. And I didn't actually fully stop until about 5 years ago. Six, just about 6 years ago. And on the surface, I was all motivation, drive, fire, and hustle. I'm an Aries, so Aries energy all freaking day long. You would never know, and the people closest to me never knew how much I struggled with my own reflection. Like, not even close to how bad it was. And the truth was that I never felt good enough. And this comes from childhood. It comes from childhood trauma. And honestly, it also comes from just being a human being. I've talked about this in previous episodes. We're going to keep going into this so much more. We all struggle with the idea, with the feeling of not being good enough, because the human brain is literally wired to feel like you are not enough to try to keep you safe. It's not personal. It's not personal. You need to really get this. Your mind, your ego is not malicious. It doesn't want to hurt you. It isn't out there trying to intercept your abundance and screw you over. It's not. It's not personal at all. It's just founded on that belief in lack. And so it doesn't know any better. And it thinks it needs to keep you safe. And so that's what it's trying to do. It's not personal, and it's definitely not the truth that you aren't enough, but it is what your mind is programmed to see. And with not feeling good enough comes shame. Shame is the next natural thing that comes. As soon as you sit with the idea, what if I am not enough? What if I'm not good enough? Instantly, shame is what comes next. We are embarrassed at our own not enoughness that we perceive. And that feeling, the feeling of shame, that feeling of shame specifically is unbearable. So if we are forced to sit in our shame for any length of time, guess what happens? We jump into flight mode. Flight, fight or flight or freeze or fawn. We jump into flight mode and we run. And since we cannot run from our own selves, we run to numb out. We run to distract ourselves from what's going on in here. And the worst part is that most of this is autopilot behavior. It is subconscious autopilot behavior, which means that we are not even really aware of what we are doing. We're not even really aware of it. It's just like an autopilot program that runs on from trigger point onwards, and we don't catch it until it's too late, which then leads to even more shame. So those of us who use food to numb out, it's totally on autopilot with a quick little drive-through stop or a pantry binge or a skip the dishes marathon or a sit down in front of the TV with 4 to 5 visits to the cupboard for another little snacky snack. Or if you're like me, all of the above in one freaking day. Been there, done that, can't even tell you how many times. And we justify it in the moment. Like the whole time, the whole day, I'm like, oh, it's okay. I'll just have another snack. We justify it. It's okay. I just need one more thing. I'm almost there. I'm almost done. And not long after we're done justifying it and we're done eating the things, we feel shame for screwing up our goals again. So many times. So we go and make some new extreme goals, even more extreme than before, with restriction, because we need to repent our dietary sins, and we stick to those new extreme goals for a little while until we don't. Why don't we stick to them? Here's a few very possible reasons. The first one could be the restrictions are too freaking low and we aren't eating enough and our body is hungry. Second reason could be subconsciously, we don't feel worthy of looking and feeling good. Another reason why we don't stick to them is because we aren't conscious enough to control or even recognize our autopilot urges before it's too late. Another reason could be that we don't have other coping mechanisms to deal with difficult emotions or energy depletion. Or maybe we decide that we deserve to treat ourselves after a hard day. Or maybe it's all of the above. So in the last video that I posted, I covered how diet society has influenced the masses to destroy their metabolisms and their corresponding health, and how we can use tracking your food to heal that damage done, how we can rehabilitate your metabolism to get your body back into a trust state with you. I talked about how tracking your food can teach you how to intuitively eat again so that you don't have to track forever, and how to regulate your favorite foods into your daily eating habits to heal your relationship with them. Tracking your food is step one to a very big problem. It was my step one, and it did the job well. It did the job very well when I tracked my food. When I tracked my food specifically, I did very well because the tool worked. And when the circumstances were right, tracking my food was enough to heal my binging issues. But we know how life goes. And the circumstances are not always peachy. They're not always ideal. And when you are a professional runner, and I don't mean the cardio kind, when the circumstances start to suck, guess what happens to your healed binging issues? They magically become unhealed. Fancy that, eh? Because times get tough. Life gets in the way. Life gets really freaking hard sometimes. And when something rubs up on the things that live inside of you that make you feel like you need to run, your first instinct is to run. I've been coaching nutrition and health and metabolic rehabilitation for 9 years. I've been working with clients on this and myself for 9 years. Reverse dieting, cutting, leaning out, building muscles. I've done and taught it all. But notice that I said earlier that I did not stop binging and purging until 5 years ago, almost 6. That's because tracking my food was only step one. I have been teaching people how to track their food, how to fix their metabolism, how to heal their relationship with food on a nutritional level for almost 9 years. For 9 years. And it took 4 of those years, 3 of those years, before I was able to stop binge eating. Because tracking my food was only step one. The other step is the most important one, and that's learning how to not be a runner. And so, when we are a chronic number outer, what we need to do is heal the things that we are running from. So the questions are, what are you numbing out from? Is it the circumstances of life that you're running from, that you need to numb out from? Or is it what you fear the circumstances of life mean about you? So let's dig into this for a second, okay? Dig into this with me for a moment. Let's say you have trauma from your past that has made you feel at some point in your life that you aren't and you might never be good enough. Okay? Now, life has this really funny way, and I'm going to talk about this in later videos, but it has this really ironic, funny way of rubbing up against that fear of not being good enough. Like someone's looking at you funny in the gym, or you don't get the promotion that you asked for, or you don't get a call back from the date that you went on last week, or your dad forgets to call on your birthday again. Or maybe your new business post on Facebook only got 2 likes and one of them was your mom. Been there too, just saying. All of these things could totally mean absolutely nothing about you and your worth. Yet, our minds naturally take anything that it can and twist it into a story about your not enoughness. And that makes you feel like shit. And you hate feeling like shit. And so you run. I ran. And you seek to numb all of that out, to feel anything else. And maybe this doesn't resonate with you in regard to your relationship with food, but I would bet money it resonates with you in regards to your relationship with something. And it's okay. It's okay. I need you to just take a deep breath with me in. It's okay. This, what I'm talking about here today, being a runner, the numbing out, the fear of not being good enough, that is normal. That is like so beyond normal. One of the things that I've learned the most, one of my favorite things to come across while teaching group work, working with people in groups, working with people in the academy and group courses and facilitating the courses that walk people through processing the belief in not enoughness, is that every single one of them, every single person, no matter their age, no matter where they're from, no matter how they grew up, no matter what their childhood was like, every single one of them has the basis, the foundation in their mind of being afraid that they're not enough. It's part of the human experience. It is natural. It is natural to feel like we are not enough, but we aren't supposed to keep feeling like we aren't enough for the rest of our lives. That's not what we're here for. We are here to become frickin' limitless with our health, with our money, with our relationships, with unconditional love. We are here to touch and tap into those kinds of incredible, limitless levels of life. We are here to overcome feeling like we aren't enough so that we can step into our own limitless divine nature. We are not supposed to stay that way. We are not supposed to keep feeling like we aren't enough, but we are supposed to feel like it for a while. Because, okay, if not for this psychological suffering that comes with identifying with everything that the brain says about us, we would never seek to grow past what the brain says about us. So if it didn't suck, we would just stay there and stay limited, and we would have no push or reason to go outside of our comfort zones. We would have no reason to innovate, no reason to transform, to grow, to transcend. We would have no push. We would never come to learn about the divine power that we have to create our own reality. We would never seek enlightenment or purpose or connection. We'd just be like robots. And why would we want that? We are here to feel. We are here to experience, to taste and love and laugh and grow and just be. And we cannot just be when we are identified with the mind and what it says about us, especially if we're always freaking running from it. So what do we do with this now? What is the solution to numbing out, whether it's with food, with substances, with gambling, with scrolling, with dating, with whatever it is that you're numbing out with? What is the solution? The solution is we have to learn about the mind. We have to learn about the ego. We have to learn about where these limiting beliefs came from so that we can go in and heal them. We need to learn how to master presence and how to get the hell out of our heads. We need to separate from our thoughts and not take them as truth, but instead as likely very far from the truth. This is the essence of everything that I teach when I work with my clients. Many people think that eating disorders and addictions and poor relationships with food are all directly related to the substance, to the food, to the body. But the food issues aren't the problem. They are the symptom of the problem. And as with most sicknesses, we must treat the symptom first, right? By, getting your food back on track and making sure that you're healing your relationship with food, with the substance, with whatever it is you're numbing out with. But the way that we stay healed, the way that we stay that way and become free is by curing the problem, by healing what you're running from so that you never have to run again. And that's what I do. That's what this whole podcast is about. So if you enjoyed this, if this resonated, if you felt aligned with this, just hit subscribe and come hang out with us. Check out some more videos. There's lots of stuff here that can teach you about yourself, about your mind, about who you are, or who you could be, who you want to be. And if you want to work with me, there are links in the description. You can come check out the academy. You can book a one-on-one call. Either way, I hope you have the most incredible week, and I will talk to you soon.